My name is Rabbi Daniel Bogard. I'm a rabbi at Central Reform Congregation, one of the largest Jewish communities here in the state of Missouri. And I'm here because I have a trans kid. Because the first thing you learn when you love a trans kid in the state of Missouri is that you have to protect them from their government. Jews have a long history of looking at gender very differently than many of our Christian neighbors do, as we heard from the bill sponsor who testified herself that this bill is inspired by her very specific Christian faith. Jews look at this differently. 2,000 years ago, we have texts about there being 6, 7, 8 different genders. We have traditions that suggest that Abraham and Sarah were intersex, that the very first human beings were created not as Adam and Eve, but as Adam and Eve, as one combined intersex being. In the 1930s, in what we've now come to call the Nazi Olympics, it turns out that a whole bunch of athletes were going off and competing in these games, in the women's games, and coming back as men. There was an uproar in the American press, but I don't know about you, I had never heard about this because we don't teach the history of queer people. In fact, we only know this story because an old Jewish man in Brooklyn wrote in the 1930s in a letter to the editor in Yiddish, telling a story about a Jew who transitioned in the 1800s in Ukraine in the shtetl and was accepted and embraced and married off to Rachel and was treated like a human being.
Please finish your thought.
If we don't teach queer history, if we don't teach that there have always been trans people, then every time in every generation it seems new and scary, and we are setting our kids up for narrow, bigoted, tiny lives and not giving them the education that every Missouri child deserves. Thank you.
Any question for this witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.